Hello, and welcome to the first video episode of the Yoderverse podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about self doubt. And the reason why this is a video is because of that exact thing. So, personally, lately, I've been feeling doubt in regards to my skills as an artist, in regards to my skills as a writer. And we'll get to how to deal with self doubt, in which one of those things is just facing that doubt head on. But first, I want to say thank you to anyone who's watching this. And all the announcements will be at the end. So let's get started. So, self doubt, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, all of these things are natural. They are human. You, if you felt self doubt, you're human. There's nobody who has ever felt fully confident their whole lives. And I feel like the psychology of self doubt brings itself in imposter syndrome, where you feel unable, like you feel like you don't have the ability to do a certain thing. And I think another interesting term in regards to self doubt is the progress paradox. The progress paradox is a situation in which you are making progress in something, a skill. In my example, I'd use art. I'm making good artistic progress lately, but the self doubt is hitting now when I'm progressing. So the progress paradox basically means that the imposter syndrome comes when you're improving. And to connect it to the last episode, it also makes you compare yourself to others. In that point at which you are making good progress, it makes you compare yourself to others, which, as we discussed previously, is not a good thing. What are some causes of this self doubt? It can come from negative past experiences where you deal with a situation based on how it affected you in the past. And if it affected you negatively, then you tend to avoid that situation or doubt yourself entirely in regards to that situation as a whole. It can come from a place of low self-esteem, where not only do you doubt your abilities, but you also believe that you're not worthy of obtaining a certain level of achievement in regards to maybe the skill that you are pursuing. And I feel like that's a combination of those things is where I think I'm at in regards to my artistic life. I feel like this is what I'd call, based on the last 2 years of doing art, I'd feel like this is the peak. I feel like I'm able to do more. I'm understanding anatomy, I'm understanding form and gesture and flow and all these things that make art good. But this is the time that the self-doubt is creeping in. I feel like it's coming in at a point at which you're improving the most. Another thing that I think I think the main thing that causes self-doubt is the fear of failure. The fear of failure is something that we all feel on a daily basis, where you doubt yourself and stop yourself from pursuing that thing just because you fear to fail at it. But I think for me, in situations in which I've been there, you take it as a learning experience. Once you take it as a learning experience, I think it will be easier for you to be able to get out of that thing. So self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all of these things are completely normal things that we feel on a daily basis. But how do we overcome them? I'd say the first thing is just to acknowledge and accept. So acknowledge that the self doubt is there and accept that it's a thing that exists. And then the next thing, number two, will be to challenge negative thoughts. So every time the self doubt creeps in and says you can't, the first thing you should say is, well, maybe, but at least I'm going to try. So never deny yourself the opportunity to try doing something because you don't know the probability of you succeeding at it because you've not tried it. And the third thing is focus on the things that you're good at, focus on your strengths. Uh, Regardless of whether you think you have strengths or not, if you look at your current situation, there are some things that you can do. Speaking from an artist or writer's perspective, I'd say I might not be good at perspective yet, but I can draw shapes. Hence, it will be easier for me to learn it instead of altogether being like perspective is hard, I won't do it, and I'll just not pursue it at all, which then crushes your dream when you have an excuse for something that you've not even tried. I think the next thing now, number four, is set realistic goals. We all have this big goal that we want to achieve. For me, it's becoming a character designer and animator and a podcaster. And one thing that will help is setting achievable goals. So you have the main goal, the big thing, the ultimate thing for me, becoming like pursuing that career. And then break it down into sub goals. To become a character designer, you need to know how characters are formed. To know how characters are formed, you need to know how to draw basic shapes. You need to know all these things. There's many subcategories. So those subcategories are your goals. Those are the realistic goals that you're setting so that you hit them 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, and eventually you'll be able to, reach the objective that you sought out to reach. Embrace imperfection is the next thing. Nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect, but in our pursuit for success, there's going to be points in which our imperfection overrules the drive we have to be able to pursue that thing. And I feel like that's one of the stumbling blocks that we have as humans is that we have such a perfectionist mindset in regards to the way we deal with things. And that's something that can be dealt with by just saying, okay, I'm not perfect, but again, I'm just trying. And trying is the best thing that you can do for yourself at any one point. The next thing is seek support. Have either someone who believes in your dream to become that thing you want to be or to pursue that goal you want to pursue, or someone that can help keep you accountable, or both, maybe both in the same person. So seeking support is something very important because you need feedback to improve. For me, I'd say that's my parents for me. We normally bounce back ideas back and forth. Will this work? Will this not work? Why won't this work? Things like that. That's how things like the name for this podcast came. It has gone through a various amount of names because I knew I wanted to end the Teen Steak podcast. But I was like, what would work in place of that? And now that's when the Yoderverse podcast was born because my second name is Yoda and this is my universe. And yeah, those are what I could call the practical tips in regards to dealing with that feeling of imposter syndrome and self-doubt. It's a normal thing that we all experience on a daily basis. And I am personally taking that step. Two situations, I think, in regards to personal experiences with the tips that I've mentioned and everything that I've talked about in the past 10 minutes, is learning the piano. So we're in 2025 right now. In 2024, I set a goal of learning the piano. I did not set a pace for myself necessarily, like I'm going to be doing it every day, I'm going to be doing it this so often. I just said by the time October reaches, I should be able to compose something. I should be able to sit down and on the keyboard and play something to be able to just make something that sounds nice, which is very hard as a beginner. So I had 10 months to do that. Granted, it was on and off, but because I didn't say I want to be an exceptional piano player, like level 5 kind of piano player, it was easy because you're not making this your career. It's just a hobby that I'm trying to work on and things like that. And eventually, I did. I was able to sit down on the keyboard and just sit with myself for 15 minutes and be able to write a small composition, which went amazingly well. And yeah, and then the second thing in terms of branching out, this is the newest one, is this. Recording video is something that I have not done. I've never recorded a video of myself. I've never been on camera. If I'm recording a video of myself, it's me doing something. I'm not even looking at the camera or things like that. So this is new to me. This is something that I'm willing to step out of my fear of putting myself out there, fear of judgment, fear of everything that comes with putting yourself out there. So yeah, so this is what I could call like the face behind the mic. I've been running this podcast since March of 2024 when it was the Teen Steak podcast. And now fighting that self doubt has been a year long journey, actually. In general, I've never wanted to be on camera, even just pictures. I don't know why, but this is a step in killing that fear, being as granted the quality might not be good, maybe my camera confidence might not be as high as it will be in the future, but the best I can do for myself right now is try. And in regards to dealing with it, to summarize all of it and to pack it up nicely, I'd say every time you feel self-doubt or imposter syndrome in regards to a situation, whether it's branching out and doing something like this, whether it's talking to a person, pursuing a relationship, whether it's writing a book, writing a song, doing an art piece, pursuing a career, whatever it is, always remind yourself, if you could take away anything from this video, is that always remind yourself, I have to give myself an opportunity to at least try. That's the only thing I need to do. Just give myself, don't deny myself. I should not deny myself the opportunity to try. And that's what I urge you to do in whatever area of your life that is. You'd rather try and fail than regret not trying. Yeah. So that is it for this video. This is the first ever video I have recorded, and if you're watching this and it has been posted online, because I've not decided whether I'm going to post it, but this is the first video that I have recorded confidently. Well, I won't say first because this is like a second take. I'd recorded this video before, but the audio quality wasn't as good. But here we are, recording a video. And if things go well, expect to see more videos like these. And now for announcements. It's going to be very brief, very short. Before I begin, thank you if you've watched this close to 15 minutes or more. If you've watched all this way, I am very grateful. This is just an experiment of me breaking out of my fear of the camera. Now, announcements. I have a mini comic called Pip and Percy. It's I want to call it a comedy-ish comic. It's two birds, a sparrow and a pigeon, just talking about life in a comedic way. Witty storylines and sometimes serious things. Like I could turn something like this into a mini comic, and all the links and information about that will be in the description below. And second announcement is I am launching a second channel. The topic for today, for this video, was actually supposed to be just be a random uh, video about me talking about three certain types of animals. But because I really love animals, if you know me personally, you know I love animals. So I'm starting a second channel specifically to talk about animals. Most of them are going to be focused on the animals of Africa, whether it's birds, mammals, insects, sea animals, even extinct animals, endangered animals. All that will be on a second channel, which as of now is called Yoderverse Untamed. So it's still connected to this podcast, but it's going to be heavily nature focused. Yeah, so the channel is already there and the link is going to be in the description. I've not published a video yet. Depending on how well this does will determine whether I publish a video there. And yeah, those are the main announcements. If you have any comments or questions or even suggestions for future topics, feel free to reach out either in the comments or via DMs on Instagram. This has been nerve-wracking but amazing, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.